Hello. So this video isn't something I'd normally spend a lot of time on. It's a zoomed in flickering light that's had some filters applied to it that boost the colors and bring out the square video compression artifacts. What made this different was that the person who made the video, Frederick Portugal, claimed to have credentials in hyperspectral imaging and to have worked for the government and to have invented some alien hunting binoculars. Some of that seems to check out on LinkedIn, so when he said this video showed an alien plasma mothership releasing cargo or other little ships, then some people listened. When I first saw the video, I recognized it looked just like a flickering star. Some stars flicker more than others, and they show more color when zoomed in with a cheap camera. So I suggested this to Portugal on Twitter, and he rejected this and said there was no star there. I was directed to a document he wrote where he shows how he determined that. In the document there's a photo of the light with the constellation Ursa Minor above it. And indeed, if we boot up Stellarium, there's no star in that location looking northwest. The problem is some other stars were not there either, and what he said was Ursa Minor looked like the wrong shape. I suspected these were different stars, so I looked around for a while. It took a long while, because these stars were all the way on the other side of the sky, but I lined them up, and then it was obvious that the light he had zoomed in on was the star Antares, the 15th brightest star in the sky. He'd been looking in the wrong direction. But isn't this still hyperspectral video showing things invisible to the naked eye? No. Hyperspectral cameras are very expensive, and they give essentially a full spectrum graph for every pixel. That's not what we have here. Portugal explained the equipment he used. A regular telescope, and a camera called a Philips 2cam. This is a old, very low resolution camera that was popular back in the 2000s as a cheap telescope camera because of its good low light sensitivity. But it's not really a great camera, and it's certainly not hyperspectral. He also explains the processing he did with the video. The luminosity was increased to offset the low gain camera setting, the saturation was increased to the maximum setting, and then the hue adjusted to optimize the color contrast. So that's basically just boosting all the adjustments to the max to make things stand out. But next comes the magic. The next processing stage was principally responsible for the discovery. A bump map algorithm is included in the Sony Vegas software, revealing high-resolution detailed structures within the star. The focus, ambience, shininess, and bump map height were selected so as to maximize the definition of the objects. The final step was to apply a high-frequency filter to further sharpen the objects within the star. Now, Sony Vegas is just a cheap consumer video editing program, and a bump map takes an image and changes it into a height map, which you can then shine a light at and get areas of light and shadow. If it's low resolution like here, and you set the light at an angle, you get shadows and the lines where the pixels change color. So all he did was fiddle around with the bump map effect and other filters to highlight the contours, which of course ended up highlighting the compression artifacts and created a lot of random shapes as the light from the star flickered. I tried discussing this with Portugal, but he responded with a series of mean tweets, which really were not necessary, and then he blocked me just before I identified the star. So I think the lesson here is that credentials don't make you infallible, especially if you're making extraordinary claims like these, but also in other claims. If you made a claim, then you can't just say, because I said so, because you're an expert. You have to actually demonstrate why you think it's true, so others can check it for themselves. On a more general note, people often ask me why I waste my time on obvious nonsense like this, and the answer is twofold. Firstly, it's just interesting to me, it's fun. Secondly, it's not obvious to everyone. If some people believe odd things like this, then they're going to believe less odd things. So if I can help people see this is nonsense, then they're less likely to fall for other things. Every little helps. And that's it. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, then please subscribe. Thank you.